Welcome to our second episode of Inclusive Classroom with myself, Zwelakhe Galela. Umfiso ngafi, umfiso muhle mabele made, odlakadla, owancelisa umntwana ngaphesheya kumfula. I must say I'm excited that the feedback that we have received for our first episode was very much positive. Thank you very much for the messages. However, it will be much more appreciative for us as a channel to make sure that you guys do subscribe, do share, do like and comment. Today is our second episode, and we are continuing with the journey that I've had on how did I manage to find myself in an inclusive classroom teaching in a special school. However, today, this particular lesson, or should I say today, I want to share something that many of us do relate, many of us my age do relate, and some of those who are still seeking employment can relate with, where one had to change a career because the initial career that you had studied for, you are finding it difficult for you to get an employment. Now, you know what they say, when things get tough, you need to reflect, redefine your goals, and try to see what else can you do to make sure that things work in your favor. Especially young people today who are in tertiary, who are going to study different kinds of career choices, they need to understand that just because you have studied for that particular choice doesn't mean that you are going to get umsebenzi or employment after you have graduated. This is one reality that some of my friends had to go through while I was in tertiary because of certain reasons that were just beyond us. Now, some of the reasons may include the following: lack of funds to continue to study, meaning that while you are studying, your parents will tell you to say, we no longer have enough funds for you to continue to study to finish your particular qualification. Now, in this instance, friends that I had at the time that I was sharing a flat with, they came to me one day to say, but it's too much, it's too much, the rent as well as the food and the tuition, so we're just going to go home and see what else we can do to try to come back or to push whatever career that you want to push. And eventually, so they left, and yeah, God is good because they end up studying something else, and now they're good. They're well off today in terms of their careers and their families and things like that. And one reason, of course, it's lack of hiring opportunity in that particular field. Now, you may have qualified or qualification for that particular instance of that particular career that you have studied for, but companies are not hiring. Economy at the time, in terms of that sphere, in terms of that field, their lack of career, not only career but employment opportunities for you to sebenza khona. And the other one is the fading or lack of interest in what you are studying for. It happens, it happens that you get to tertiary, you study whatever you want to study. In my case, I wanted to study psychology, clinical psychology, and I got to a tertiary, and as much as I was obsessively consumed by the fact that I want to study, I want to finish, there was that thing that in me that said, no man, I think somebody can double tap on other things, because when you get to tertiary, your outlook on things, your insight gets open, and you find yourself interacting with abantu who have been, in your particular situation, and they might even share, their experiences. Now, I had to change my career, not because of maybe of that maybe I had a different interest, but because of funding. My dad told me, Baba, I've done what I could. I've done what I could. I've paid for a degree, and now I think it's time for you to go out there and find a job. And let me just share something. Proverbs 19:21, 23. Solomon, the wisest, so says the scripture, writes and says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but God's purpose always prevail. In other words, as human beings, we have plans that we have lined up, and we have jotted down in our diaries, in our career books and things like that, but at the end, seemingly we find ourselves not able to reach those plans or goals at the time, or at the time frame that we have set for ourselves. Now, have you ever asked yourself this question, that why it seems that whenever you have those plans, when you have to divert, you have to, rechange izinto in your life, apart from diverting, but you have to off ramp if you want to do nursing, but you find yourself you must be a security, whereas abanye abantu they just decide to say, I want to be this, I want to be an engineer, I want to be an IT specialist, I want to find myself in graphic designing, and it just happens. They go through those things very smoothly, they go through those challenges very smoothly, unlike when where you have to divert, and ama-plans wakho, they don't get achieved in that particular time that you have planned yourself. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to compare here, I'm not trying to compare myself with my friends, and I'm not trying to tell you to compare your life, but I'm just saying to you, sometimes as human beings you get to a place where you wonder to ask, but why every time you find something I ain't saying at the time that I've planned for. Now I've learned that some of these questions that we ask ourselves this side of heaven, we are not going to find them answers to them or for them until maybe we get to heaven, where we're going to maybe sit at the seat of class, sit Jesus, where he's going to play us a video and he showed us why he allowed certain things to happen. Klambe, by that time we are going to find the closure. We are going to find the closure. There are a couple of people that I went to school with, there are a couple of friends that I went to school with, and they chose what they chose, and today they are working in those careers, in those career fields, and kudos to them. Hence I'm saying, sometimes you get to wonder, hey man, why me so, and some, of course, they get to study through whatever field of career choice that they want to study without having hindrances, because of obviously our situations are fun, they have funds, best events, and they have money to be supported by, but today I want to share, I want to basically share this journey with those I know, those who I have a similar experience with will in fact resonate with, man, this thing happened to me, when I was at duty, when I was at tax, when I was at vets and things like that, and when I had to go to an FET and all those things, and I know, and I want to acknowledge that the fact that you are here today and you are in a career that is, it's paying enough for you to push other things. That means you have come this far. That means you didn't give up. That means you definitely had goals and you had plans, and you didn't want to give up just easily, to say, okay, this doesn't happen, this is not happening, therefore I'm giving up. So you have to think, reassess, reevaluate, and make decisions which hasn't, let me just change for the sake of this particular situation. Hence, I'm saying that Nami, I had to change because I wanted to do clinical psychology, and then I found myself, being in an education space. After in fact my BA graduation, and in 2010, I completed in 2009 rather. Then in 2010, the World Cup year, Bangshayela party, graduation party, Nandi family was there. Friends were there. Sagia. Awusabusiseka nathi, before nje the dust yasekhile nje, uthi party bese graduation party, my dad before ahamba ekhaya eMpumalanga Standerton, wahlala nami wathi, ndoda, shayile manje, I'm giving you 2 to 3 months for you to find something, for you to find something. I'm going to continue to pay for your rent, I'm going to continue to buy food for you, but ungisize, make sure that you find something between 2 to 3 months, because if I'll told you anything, that means you must come back home in Mpumalanga. Imagine usuke ePitori ngekhaya ngiyohlala nje, apply from there, apply from there, because angithi imali manje kumele isave. Then there was pressure kimi ukuthi manje I need to find something, I need to find a job, as long it was an okay paying job. I wouldn't say it was a good job, but it was an okay pay, meaning I could basically maneuver within the month, pay my rent, buy food, and buy myself things as well. Now, there's a lesson to be learned here. Lesson 1, having a degree in psychology didn't mean that I had a guarantee of finding umsebenzi for psychology. In South Africa or anywhere else that I know, it doesn't mean just because you have a degree in psychology that you're going to find yourself umsebenzi that is in line with that degree. Like I said, I wanted to do my honors, I wanted to do my master's degree, do my internship, write a board exam with HPCSA, because basically that's the route for you to basically to take for you to be a certified, qualified clinical psychologist in South Africa, and I was not even ready or prepared to work because in my mind I was saying, no, okay, I'm done with my BA now, I need to move to my honors degree, so hence I'm saying that, him sitting down with me, telling me that you must change now, no longer gonna study. What you need to do now is to find a job, and that was a rude awakening to adulthood, unfortunately, because experience I will never ever forget. But I must say, there was something that I learned and that contributed to my growth at the time. And sometimes you try by all means to find employment, then you are told you need to have an experience. So the experience then we are the experience. That's one lesson I think that I have learned, and that none you can attest in South Africa today. Having a degree or having a qualification for what you've studied for doesn't necessarily mean that you are guaranteed to find umsebenzi. My job hunt at the time was through abantu. Within 2-3 months I did find umsebenzi, and it was through abantu in my circle, especially in Konzweni. There are a couple of platforms that I had to use, like Job Rapido, Junk Mail. I had to buy newspapers every Sunday, your Sunday Times carriers, your City Press also carriers as well. I had to make sure that also I linked myself through the app like a LinkedIn platform, where you get to share stories, you get to not basically request, but you get to communicate with others. You make a contacts to say, I'm looking for this particular job, or if you guys hear anything, please, here's my resume, here's my qualification, please do assist. So basically, these platforms that I had to use, they're still in existence today, because these are platforms where job opportunities, they're still there. I had all kinds of CVs. That were streamlined to fit a particular job or particular employment at the time. And during this period, between April to May, I learned that for you to get to where you want to get, you need people. You definitely need people. And in my case, also for me, where I had to find themselves at Telkom, there were people that were placed strategically by God, and definitely that's why I just want to appreciate and acknowledge the fact that God did definitely make sure those people were there, those angels in a human form. In my instance was Umamsheli Mtetwa, big up Mama, and I'm sure wherever you are blessed, and I'm hoping that God is still continuing to bless you, in your life, and also Bantwana, your family. Because at the time when I remember when you assisted me, I was so stressed today. If I'm told umsebenzi ngizohamba ngikhaya ngihlale, and ukuthi I wouldn't know. Assist ukuthi ngithola umsebenzi at Telkom. And yes, it wasn't something that I studied for, and I was a PA to a senior manager, and later on I moved to Pretoria to be an administrator for a call center unit. And I must say, as much as I didn't expect to find umsebenzi, I had to learn. I had to adapt. I had to sit down and say, listen, umsebenzi ongifunayo ngitholi for now, but this is what I have, because the pressure that I have is the pressure that I have for me to find a job, so that I can be able to be independent, for a lack of a better word, to make sure that I get to pay for my own bills in Lini, buy food, and also send money home through the very same salary that I was getting at the time. But a half loaf of bread is better than no bread at all. So there were times where I got to sit down and think to myself, I am a PA at Telkom with a degree in psychology. I didn't want to be there in my head, but a situation, a reality told me you have to be here. I had to work through my emotions, work through my mental state to say I'm here because obviously the dream that I had at the time was not fading. wasn't feeling away, because I do appreciate that at the time life was throwing away whatever challenges that was throwing in, and I had to grow. I had to grow from that in terms of approach, in terms of how do I respond and how do I respond. And the economy at the time was dwindling, was dwindling, and is still dwindling today. But you can't pick and choose. Beggars can't be choosers. So now me at the time, I needed umsebenzi. I didn't want to be picky, because umsebenzi corner umsebenzi I would do umsebenzi. I was trained, and of course, I end up enjoying being there. But that enjoyment basically doesn't mean I had to forget about my goals, about my career goals. Because that job opportunity gave me more hunger, gave me more direction, because now I had funds to study further, and also being interested in career coaching, career guidance. At the time, I consulted one of the GDE, Department of Education district offices around Pretoria, to say these are the skills that I have. I'm very good when it comes to this, and I'm here to offer my services. Now, this was when I was still working, so I'm also appreciative to the manager at the time, who was able to say, listen, we can take them along breaks, go to a school and do career counseling, company and things like that. And district level young assister, and I had to interact with them, specialists in education and things like that, whenever they would do school visitation and do this career talks with them at grade 12, grade 10s, grade 11s especially. And I must say, in a way, the hunger that I had for education, or to be part of education at the time, was also reignited. And the advice that I got was, do study teaching, and then you climb the ladder from within. Best advice at the time, don't you think? So I'm saying sometimes you need this. I'm saying you need people in this journey of you becoming something, becoming the best engineer, the best whatever you've studied for. You need people, in fact, to assist you, to open doors for you, as well as to share their own experiences as well. So during my time, during this time, I valued too much staying alone. I was staying alone in a bachelor flat somewhere, in Pretoria North. I was renting. I was working, but at the same time, I was studying PGCE postgrad certificate in education. I had a routine there. I was very strict. I was only having fun on the weekends, but when I a corner, I wasn't going to parties. I was seeing friends, and things like that, watching movies, but during the week, I would wake up early, go to work, get to work 2-3 hours earlier, study before I start umsebenzi. And then also after work, I'll stay a bit and study some more because of traffic, as well as when I get home before bedtime, I will study. Now lesson 2 that I would like to share is that do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. If umntwana isikolo ungena isikolo today, you're doing grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, you're able to see this video, make sure that you focus on your school. Make sure that you focus on your books. If you're in tertiary, same things apply. Make sure that you do what you need to do when it needs to be done. Time is of the essence. Isikhathi will not guaranteed. So make sure that I'm a matrix for this year, I'm a grade 12. How many months do you have for you to start your final examination? Exactly. There's no time at all. So make sure that you push. Distractions, you put them aside. You see them after you have written your final examination. Distraction in the sense that and all those things. If you are doing those things, we don't want to generalize, but just saying again, distractions, they are there basically to hinder us from reaching our goals. The other thing basically, when it includes someone ofunda while asebenza, that gives me an indication, it gives me an idea that particular person, he or she is working at the same time. There is a place, there are goals, there are dreams that they want to achieve. Like I said in episode 1, being in my field, which is education and psychology, you need to study. Imfundo share my peli. Imfundo ayipeli, ufunda uzuguge, and phela wena, because even in your old age, 55 to 60, still be studying, depending on what are you interested in. Now I'm a decade later since my first umsebenzi. I'm still reaching for the stars. I'm still studying, because there's a particular place that I want to get. And as long as I'm still alive, as long as I'm still alive, as long I still have breath in my nostrils, definitely there is an ample opportunity for you to study. Now, if it happens that you were in this situation and then you change a career and then you have to divert, now you find yourself being happy and content in that particular new career, then that's good. That's good. As long as you're happy, as long as you're content, and as long as you are effective, as long as you are effective and inspiring in the new career, that is very good. Now, knowing that some of you, if not most of you, can relate with the lesson for today, that these two lessons are very important. A half prayed is better than no prayed at all. Meaning, whatever you've studied for doesn't guarantee you to find observance in that field. Whatever work that you may get, as long as you tola imali, as long as that can help you in a way to stand on your feet and to push even further, or to push even more, take that opportunity. It might take you 2 years, it might take you 3 years, it might take you 5 years, whatever it takes. Make sure that you take that half bread. You take that half bread, because there is a high level of unemployment in our country. Even today, abantu graduates today, they are unemployed. I know people who are unemployed, yet when I'm a PhD, when I'm a master's degree. It doesn't really mean that just because you have a particular degree, you are guaranteed savings. Hence, we are learning a half bread is better than no bread at all. Now, the second lesson is that we need to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. So, mawufunda This principle doesn't only apply in education to those who are studying matrix, whether in tertiary. It is a principle that can be applied in our lives in general. If you have any idea, if you have any business that you want to start. Don't procrastinate. If there's an assignment or there's a task that you need to do it. Hence, the second lesson is do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. I had to study while I was working. While I was working. I finished 2 qualifications in 2 years. PGCE, that back then was 2 years. Honors degree, back then was 2 years. I took one year each. I did my 2-year PGCE for 1 year. I did my 2-year honors in 1 year. Then I was done. I was focused because I knew where I wanted to go. So hence I'm saying this lesson we can apply it basically everywhere, especially if we want to achieve izinto that we want to achieve. So we need to apply this principle, and also to remember that just because I have a qualification, I'm done studying, I'm guaranteed savings. Those who are in tertiary, those who are doing their first year, second year, even if last year, these are the things that you need to come across. These are the things that you need to be open to. You need to understand that just because I have a qualification, I'm not guaranteed savings there. Life would fracture you in the way that you need to divert. Life would fracture you in a different direction that you never really thought you would be. Colleagues, some of them are friends, some of them are family members who had started different qualification, but today they are pushing themselves in a different direction. Some of them are studying education, some of them are educators, but within that particular field or sphere of education, they're still trying by all means to push whatever they want to push to get to their initial career choice, which is good. It just goes to show life is not predictable. Life is unpredictable. You can't say just because I have this plan will definitely will play out the way it is in your head. Unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. I hope you've enjoyed our lesson for today. Remember to subscribe, remember to share, and also to comment below if you are resonate with whatever was shared today. Until next time, class dismissed.